Hey everyone, this is day 2 of our chronological Bible reading plan. Just as a reminder, every thought expressed in this video is mine and mine alone, and not representative of any church body. So, in day 2, we have Genesis 4:1 through 5:32. Then we have First Chronicles 1:1 through 4, and Genesis 6:1 through 8. So, at the beginning of this, Adam and Eve, they have sex and they conceive and bear Cain, and they get a child, and then they bear his brother Abel, and then they both bring offerings to the Lord, uh, and then the Lord prefers Abel's offering, and this Cain feels rejected, and it's kind of tricky here. Like they both bring offerings. Why is one's preferred over the other, right? So when we look at this, let's look at this. In the course of time, Cain brought to the Lord an offering of the fruit of the ground, and Abel also brought of the firstborn of his flock and their fat portions. So Cain says, all right, after a little bit of time, he's like, you know what? This stuff, sure, I'll give this to the Lord. Abel brings the first fruits. That's the word we like to use, right? He brings the choice, the best, off the top part, the best stuff he has. That's when we see this fat portions. That's like the good stuff, right? So he's bringing out of the best he has, he's giving us an offering to the Lord. Cain's offering has no regard, not because the grain is worse than the flock, but because of their heart posture. We'll talk a lot about this kind of stuff in our discussion videos. But the Lord had regard for Abel in his offering, and for Cain, he had no regard. So Cain was angry. And I love what the Lord says here. Cain, why are you angry? And why has your face fallen? If you do well, will you not be accepted? And if you do not do well, sin is crouching at the door. Its desire is for you, and you must rule over it. I love that. He's warning Cain, hey, do well and you'll be accepted. And if you do not, sin is crouching at the door. Its desire is to consume you. We've already had the first sin, and we're about to see what sin is like. We've already discussed sin causes death. The story goes from life to death. Broken relationship with God, whose breath is in our lungs. So, Cain kills Abel. What I want to point out is, in one generation, sin has exacerbated so much. We've gone from a sin of pride, which is awful and bad, and it points to life, to one generation later, we have murder. Prideful, jealously fulfilled murder. Cain is punished, all right? Then we get some genealogy of Cain, all right? And then we get this poem by Lamech, which may confuse you. Sin is still growing and multiplying. In this poem, Lamech is boasting of sin. I have killed a man for wounding me, a young man, so he's killed a young person, potentially even a child, for striking me. Cain's revenge is sevenfold. It's like Cain's revenge is perfect. Mine is more perfect. 77. My revenge is even better. He's boasting this to his 2 wives. So now we have this violence in the earth. We also went from Eve being that beautiful sustainer of Adam, this life-giving thing. They're unified and joined as one flesh. And Lamech, a few generations later, has 2 wives. But then Adam knows his wife again, and they bear another son called Seth. So we kind of have this splitting of their lines, right? You have the line of Cain, the line of Seth. We get this genealogy. Point of confusion here, you have an Enoch here in Seth's line, and the Lamech here in Seth's line, but also they're in the line of Cain, they're different people. So just don't let that confuse you. And then we kind of end this section. We get Noah and his children, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. All right. We bounce over to Chronicles. This might be kind of a weird interruption for you, but we're reading chronologically. It's the order things happen. So Chronicles, beautiful book. Chronicle, like history book, but like just so y'all know, the names for these books in Hebrews, a lot of them are different in Hebrew than we have in English. So it's not just here's a history book of a bunch of things that happen. The Hebrew name for it is the words of the days. It's the story of everything, right? So really powerful book that in succinctly shows that takes us from Adam through to the exile. So here they just give you, notice the chronicler only talks about the line of Seth. It shows you what he's interested in, right? And now when we jump back into Genesis, we see sin continuing to spread. Sin is this cancerous, contagious, destructive force. The Lord has warned us already. Sin is crouching at the door of the tent, waiting to consume you. When man began to multiply on the face of the land, the daughters were born to them, Genesis 6:1. The sons of God saw that the daughters of man were attractive. This might have confused you. And it's open for debate still. There's three interpretations I'll just make you aware of who are these sons of God and who are these daughters of man. First interpretation, this is the oldest one, a very ancient Jewish interpretation, is the sons of God are angels. The issue we get with that interpretation is it potentially contradicts a few places in the New Testament, which is why I personally don't accept that interpretation. Jesus talks about how the angels are different than the man and their desires. And here, even if we're talking about fallen angels, it's kind of a jump to say that they suddenly have these sexual desires for human beings. So there's some issues with the New Testament there. Another interpretation is the sons of God are these kings. I won't talk about that too much. And the third interpretation is that the sons of God are the line of Seth, which is more or less still righteous. Obviously, sin is in the earth, and original sin doctrine we're not going to go into, but like they're not saying these people are without sin, but they're still children of God, is what the author is saying in this interpretation. The daughters of men would be people from the line of Cain. So the people who are still following God versus rejecting God are coming together is another interpretation. People like Martin Luther, Calvin, Augustine have followed this interpretation. Let me make sure it's and Augustine have followed this interpretation. So then you have the Nephilim walking the earth. Let me zoom into verse 5. Sin. The Lord saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every intention of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. So now we're more than one or two generations removed from Adam, but sin still cancerous, still pervasive. We went from the sin of pride, disobeying the Lord in the garden. Now the wickedness of man is great in the earth. Every intention of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. Okay? And the Lord says, I will blot out man, whom I've created. I am sorry that I have made them. But Noah found favor in the eyes of the Lord. And that's going to end our day 2.